They'll find out that I'm American born, and that kind of throws them off, and I get judged right there. But then they find out Jan's from the Philippines, and they get super excited. But then they find out he's from Manila, and then they find out I'm half Kapampangan. They're like, oh, that's the reason your guys' food tastes good. I was like, oh, well, okay. I was like, I think it's because I've been a chef for 13 years. But I was like, I'll take it.
I do like my farmer's market run like super fast. So I pretty much grew up there.
Wow.
In Manila or Manila, yeah. And my dad was you know, he's an orthopedic surgeon. Then they did a lot of helping out. Hi, my name is Jan de la Paz, and I live in Napa, but I'm here in the East Bay doing Filipino food pop-up. And every time I go by, it's humbling. Oh man, yeah.
And my name is Bobby Punla. I'm here from the Bay Area, and we do a Filipino pop-up called LIKHA.
So my current culinary path, if you will, started when I was still in college in the Philippines. I was born and raised in the Philippines, got to college, I was taking up library science, psychology, and then hotel restaurant management. And then when I was doing my hotel restaurant degree, I met a chef who actually graduated in Pasadena. I sat in one of his classes, fell in love with cooking, dropped everything, went here stateside, went to school cooking, and then been cooking ever since.
So the start of my culinary journey was, well, take it back to maybe when I was like 10 years old. I'm just like your super typical like Filipino American kid. I broke my microwave when I was 10 years old, and I had to learn how to cook pizza pockets, pizza rolls, and instant ramen on the stove and in the oven. And then around the time I graduated high school, I knew I didn't want to go to college, so I went to culinary school here in the California Culinary Academy in San Francisco, and actually Jan went there too as well. Different times, but I like cooked like on the Big Island in Hawaii at a resort out there. Fell in love with cooking. My first job ever was the Outback Steakhouse. I was doing blooming onions.
Me and my partner Bobby here, we've been cooking fine dining, French, heavily classical French cuisine. And then we did not know each other at that time yet, but I think it's just, I guess, destiny that we're gonna cross paths together. When we started cooking, we did not really think about cooking Filipino food.
Not at all. Like I think when you first start cooking, you just you kind of go away from what you grew up cooking. So like we kind of stayed to like French Californian, and then once we met, we just decided to go back to our roots.
So I was at Le Toque cooking. I was managing the kitchen, creating dishes, and little did I know that some of my dishes has Filipino backgrounds in it. You know, with the way I was making one of our sauces for our rabbit dishes, I was pureeing it with the liver and the hearts. And little did I know, like was said, it's pretty much Mang Tomas, which is the traditional sauce for the lechon kawali that we're serving.
My earliest food memory is around the time I was in culinary school, because I grew up as a Filipino American. I grew up more, in my opinion, Americanized, and I didn't really know much about my culture. But I was staying with my aunt and uncle. The deal was I had to go to school, and I had to work to live with them while I went to culinary school. And my auntie introduced me to a dish called kare kare. It was pretty amazing, and just, it's always a dish that I always remember. I learned that that's like one of the culinary capitals in the Philippines, and they told me all the time that this dish was created there, and it's actually like the dish that a lot of Filipinos kind of like judge you and just mark you by, like how good it is. And I just always remember it. It's like, so everyone says their mom's curry, I say my auntie's curry. She introduced me to the dish.
You know, we're competing with all this homemade dishes. It all boils down to memories, you know, like that's what I grew up eating. You know, that's how my mom used to make it, or my aunt used to make it, or my grandma used to make it. We're competing with all those stuff.
There's like so many Italian restaurants and so many like burger restaurants and so many like taquerias. Like, why can't there be multiple Filipino restaurants? Like, each of us are different. Each of us have our own story. It's like we each should represent our vision and our upbringing the way we want to. My experience as a Filipino chef in our community up here in the Bay Area, we're all about, you know, like pushing our culture right now. I don't think we're competitive at all. It's like we're more like spreading awareness of our culture. We feel like it's just being like misunderstood and misrepresented.
And you know, just what Bobby's saying, like we're all supportive of each other. We you know, like even Ray from Ramen Shop. That's how we got into this Filipino pop-up thing. He pushed us. We're such a small community that we need to support each other, promote the awareness and the Filipino food movement. You know, we're more than just lumpia and adobo and all those mainstream Filipino food. We're more than that. The younger Filipinos, I think they're more inclined to trying out new things with all those stuff. It's hard for us to tap into those grandmas and aunties, and because they have rules. They're like, this is my kare-kare, this is my way. That's the only way.
Believe it or not, like our most like terrifying moments as chefs is when we have to drop it off to an auntie or an uncle. That's kind of when we get like the most nervous, because we're not sure how receptive they're gonna be to our food. We're like
almost judgmental.
Yeah.
Seeing Filipino families, sometimes with one look, we know we've been judged. Like, all right, we've been judged, dude. Like, we need to serve this food like legitly. Like, and then once we serve the food to them, they'll eat it and they will ask at the end of their meal, like, how was it? And then it's all smiles. so that encourages us. And so, you know, we're trying to push this movement, and you know, we're here. Give us a chance. Let's try it. Support each other, and it's fun. It's a fun process.